It's the Diamond K Show.
So much going on in the world. You talk about things from the perspective of how it is. DJ Diamond K, sometimes it comes off like you are almost not in support of, but you just accept the way things are and there's no chance of change. Check me out on YouTube. That's the part that I am just like, Argh.
On FireTV.com.
Okay. I am so excited to be here, first of all. Shout out to everybody. Welcome back. Your man Diamond K in here, of course, the DiamondKShow.com, on fire-tv.com, radioonfire.com. So much to get into. I am joined by some lovely ladies. We were talking behind the scenes, and then I'm like, oh, we gotta start the show. I got a whole lot of things that I need to get off my chest. And so we're talking, behind the scenes about this and that, and hopefully they will let us get to some of that conversation, because I got a whole lot to say. And I was going to say that on the second half of the show, but if I have some folks that have differing opinions, I'm not going to say that they're Kanye West enablers, but kind of, sort of, like kind of, sort of. Wow. And I understand that College Dropout has such an impact for hip hop fans. College Dropout, the creator of College Dropout, does not get an endless pass to just, act the ass, right? Like bars. Okay. No, he does not get that. He does not get that. But it's deeper. And when things happen, it opens the doors to have so many other conversations. So two ladies who I love to have conversations with. And every time we get together, whether it's in person or whether it is virtually, we have, we have some very intense conversations. Ladies, thank you for joining me. Okay, yes, I definitely like to talk a lot, and I'm not going to only give my thoughts on, what you called, Crystal called the demise of Kanye West. I don't know if I would go that far, but I would definitely say the backlash he's receiving. I don't think he's going to have a demise in the sense, but he deserves something. Nneka N'namdi, first, how are you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm amazing. You're looking well.
Hey, like I told you, I drink my water. I mind my business. I don't be telling no lies. So
okay. Now lies can, to some people, can be subjective, right? Because some people think that you're telling a lie. It's really that's their thoughts. That's their version of the truth. No, the truth is the goddamn truth.
Well,
Crystal Toya, how you doing?
Hey, what up?
Your background is kind of, it's kind of sexy. Is that a bed? Are you looking at the bed? You are way too turned up to be in the bedroom.
No comment.
All right, no problem. All right. So, what has been going on since we last got together?
Man, a whole lot has gone on.
That was 2016. When was that?
No, it wasn't that long. Was it?
I'm not sure. I think I've been on the show since.
Yeah.
Well, I haven't. Okay. I'm saying the last time Black Panther was out.
Okay, so that was like probably 2018, right? Maybe 2018. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, y'all were in the studio.
All the years run together after COVID. It's just one big year.
So let's start there. I think that's a great place to start. COVID. How do we handle COVID? Wait, are we still in the pandemic?
I was never in the pandemic.
I would say that we are still facing the health and economic challenges resulting from COVID-19. Yeah, I would say.
Yeah, and
Latoya would say we were never in a pandemic, which is fine.
Okay, right. So
I never was in a pandemic.
Nothing changed in your life during the 2020?
Nothing I could control changed.
So that's kind of like a pandemic, right? Because it's not like we control the pandemic when the pandemic comes.
Well, I'm self-employed, for one.
Did you wear a mask when you went to Giant?
I did not.
In 2020?
I did not.
Nice. They tackled you at the door.
They did not.
So no stores gave you issues with not wearing a mask?
No. I didn't go to a lot of stores either, though. I didn't go a lot. I did a lot of online shopping, but no, I didn't have issues.
That's good. Okay. All right. Well, that's what's up.
I had to wear a mask on a flight. I took a lot of flights.
So they forced you to wear the mask. Did you wear one of those masks with a whole lot of the vents on it, or you just had like a regular mask?
No, I had a little cute mask. It was cute. It was like a Basquiat mask.
Oh, nice. No, okay, that's what's up. That's what's up. So you took trips. Did you ever get COVID?
I did not.
Okay. Nneka, did you ever get COVID?
I did not.
Okay.
Now that we got that out of the way.
Yeah. No. Okay. Did you know people that got COVID?
Sure.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
All right. And then so that was year one. Did y'all lose any friends or family members to COVID?
I did not, but I know
I didn't.
a lot of people who did.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I think the first year naturally was the roughest. I did lose some family members. But so now we are 2 years removed, 2 and some change, going on 3, and what we have now is an excuse for inflation, right? So the prices were jacked up because I think mainly because they wanted to try to get the profits that they think that they lost during that time when things were slowed down. And they got loopholes.
Who lost profits?
I would say some companies probably, bottom lines were affected, definitely.
Small businesses for sure.
Oh, and they
but
can't.
I mean the top tier businesses.
Those the big corporations who also act as political donors. Those ones.
I don't think they took. I wouldn't say
they didn't. They got a PPP.
No, but I understand that. But as far as the bottom line,
what we talking about? Joel Osteen got a couple million, and he a nonprofit. So I know them corporations got
the one that don't open the church to nobody in need. That one,
that one, the very same.
So what you had is folks double dipping, right? They got those loans, whatever, and then they also raised,
right.
prices.
They used the pandemic, as an excuse.
That's what I'm saying. Use it as the excuse, and whether it's Trump, whether it was Biden, Trump making loopholes, Biden acting like I don't even know what's happening. I don't know, like none of the politicians, Republicans or Democrats, really talking about or addressing the real cause of the inflation. It's just y'all did it, or but whatever. It's neither one of them. It's not going to be different under either one. Whoever gets it is going to stay the same.
I mean,
the owners are the same.
But inflation is inherent to a capitalist system. So inflation is
going to 54%. I mean, not at the rate that it is.
I'm not saying at the rate. I'm just saying that innate to a capitalist system, you're going to have ebbs and flows. You're going to have periods of inflation that are lower or higher, just like you're going to have markets that are lower or higher. So I mean, the reality of it is that's going to happen when you have a market that is driven in the way that the capitalist market is driven, or set up in the way that it's set up. So I think it doesn't make, at least to me, doesn't make a whole lot of sense to focus on inflation. It, to me, makes more sense to focus on what we need to be doing to make sure that whatever this system is doing, that we're able to take care of our basic needs.
Right. But that is true, and I agree with that. I just think that we can't ignore the fact that it's the average rate of inflation prior to the pandemic, probably about 2.5, 2.6%. And where it is now is significantly higher. So unless things are going to eventually go back down, which I don't think that they are.
No, they don't. They're not.
Then we're just operating at a whole different level of the game than has been previously happening. The haves and the have-nots the gap is going to be much wider.
But
we're operating in the red, and we were actually already headed to a recession. All of the major European nations are in a recession. The pound is now lower than the dollar. The euro is crip walking. Like it's the pandemic was global, but it also had a global benefit for those countries who were already headed to or in a recession, because they were able to try to patch some of the holes in that recession for them, of course, because capitalism is what it is, and always leave out that lower 90%. They keep making it seem like it's so much middle class, but the middle class is nowhere near what the middle class used to be. And they have actually broadened the wealth gap and simultaneously taken the labor force back into their homes, and also forced us to find ways to supplement a labor force, which now a lot of things are run by machines. So many more self-check lanes in every store. Just even in McDonald's, you can go to McDonald's and never actually interact with the person in some of the newer McDonald's. So they have simultaneously widened the wealth gap and taken people out of jobs, all the unskilled labor jobs, and covered up their recession with a global pandemic.
So you seem like you feel like most of this was planned out.
Me?
Yeah,
everything is planned. We have some of the greatest thinkers ever in places of government in every nation in the world. Everything is planned. Everything is considered. Everything is decided. Even a pandemic, even a virus that may have already been on the planet, may not. Like, who's to say?
and there's
So
no way we're going to be able to prove either way.
there's no way we're going to be able to prove it, which is a plus for them. But I think that in order to, I mean, just putting together a production at an elementary school is chaos. Imagine putting together the parameters for a global pandemic in real time. We all just agree. We just immediately all agree, nation by nation, language barrier, translator. We all just immediately agree. Everybody wear masks. Everybody 6 feet apart. Everybody this, everybody that. I don't know.
Nneka N'namdi, is your mic on?
yeah, my mic is on.
You've been quiet for a few minutes. I just not knowing. Not what I've seen. You're in agreement. I understand you're in agreement.
No, I mean, it's not necessarily that I'm in agreement. It's just that the reality of it is, we know that we live in a society where, or in a planet where there's definitely globalization of many things. So it is not unreasonable to take a critical look at what is happening when there's a recession, when there's a pandemic, when there's a war. There, it's reasonable to look very closely and use a critical lens when looking at any kind of world event, because you can definitely miss things. Do I think that they sat around the table and necessarily planned it out? No. But do I think they had all kinds of plans in place for when the next global pandemic or when the next disease that they could leverage for their benefit? Sure.
Mm-hmm. And it doesn't mean sometimes it gets misconstrued, like the nuance of saying that things were planned and saying that, oh, I had people that really died. I'm in no way saying that COVID was not real, that people were not really sick, that people were not really dying. I'm not in no way saying that. I'm not in no way dismissing those deaths and losses to the virus. That's not what I'm saying. I just wanted to make that clear.
Oh yeah. No, I understand that. And I definitely think that reactions to, like you said, pandemic was definitely, there's what I call a crash pack. There's a strategy if this happens, and I think that you have different organizations in different countries, CDC, whoever, the WHO, whatever letter organization, and they get together and they figure out, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. This is the strategy, kind of thing. Absolutely. And
The
so now
the question is why we don't have individual, family, and community-based plans for all of these things. We live on the planet Earth. Wars are going to happen. Natural disasters are going to happen. Viruses and bacteria, like all the diseases are going to happen. These things are naturally occurring on the planet, and they're going to occur more frequently because we are doing things to a living Earth that are disturbing Earth, and you better know that this planet will take us out of here before it allows us to destroy it completely. And so, knowing that, we should be planning. Like 4 years before the pandemic, if you watch my Facebook thread almost quarterly, I say to people, yo, how much water do you have in your basement or in your closet? Do you have enough food? Do you have first aid supplies? Do you have some backup of your hypertension meds? And by the way, are you walking and eating better so you can get off of those meds before the next thing happens? So as much as we want to point and look, and we should, at the WHO, at the CDC, at the IMF, at the World Bank, at the UN, and all of these other institutions, we also at the same time have to be saying, like, we know that these institutions are not designed for us. They are not by us. What are we doing in our own institutions, our families, our friend groups, our organizations, to be prepared for the next disaster? Because it could be tomorrow. It could be these hurricanes are stronger. The earthquakes are stronger. Like, what are we doing to prepare instead of waiting until the next COVID happens? Because the reality of it is, quietly, while Maryland was shut down, construction still happened. They were still building stuff quietly while everything was closed. 50% of the houses sold in Baltimore during COVID were sold to private equity. Like, there were things definitely happening while we were scurrying to figure out how to pay Big Mama property taxes, when we've known for years, like, property taxes are due every year at the same time. So we have to be about the business of planning. This goes to our family continuity planning. This goes to our personal safety planning. What are we doing before the next thing? We need to be prepared because we know these things are going to come.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So with that being said, I want to shift gears for a moment and see if I can get a letter grade for some of these names that I'm going to throw out there. All right. Letter grade for Joe Biden.
For what? But what are we grading? Their political performance?
Yeah.
In general, are we grading what they have done for Black people specifically?
F.
No, let's talk about let's talk about both, actually.
Okay.
So Joe Biden, political performance and overall benefit for Black people.
So you want to go first?
Oh, F.
Is that for both?
F.
Okay.
I would say overall a C, and I would agree an F as it pertains to Black people.
Okay. Overall C. So you think for the country in its entirety, all races, you think he's done passing?
I think he's executing according to his actual base. and as such, the platform that they have put forward for the country, he's executing that at a C level.
Okay. What about VP Harris?
F.
Okay.
I don't have enough information about what she's doing to give her a grade.
She missed too many classes.
Is that an I for incomplete?
Yeah, right. She missed all the midterms. She missed the finals. We don't even know. Is she still on the roll?
She has her beads.
She has her what?
Her beads and her Converse.
Well, I was never buying that.
You didn't buy it? That was I think
even,
that was
even her fashion grade is F.
Yeah, the fashion
it's not
grade,
giving.
the fashion grade is definitely giving F.
okay. All right.
No, I wasn't ever buying it because I do very much feel like there was, and this is common of the Democratic Party, to use this notion of Black excellence in order to electrify particularly so-called educated Black folks to buy into this notion that we can climb the ladder and fix it and get America together. And I think it's a nonsense notion. That notion died with Dr. King. Anybody who has followed American history and follow the freedom movements of African people from the time we got here till today, if you look at it really critically, then you know that when Dr. King was killed, and those policies started being implemented from the civil rights movement, that it was clear, it should be clear to us that they have no intention at all of cashing the check that Dr. King talked about that is due to Black people. And anything from that point forward, anything that they have done is to lull us into this sense of we should just keep fighting for, we should just keep. And Kamala Harris's run for president, run as vice president is just, it's optical. I think Joe Biden was strategic. His camp was strategic in that whenever America be messing up, particularly who cleans up after all of the shit and all of the mess is typically Black women. And so that was the signaling that was given. And that's why I'm like, I don't even know what she doing. Honestly, I knew more about what Michelle Obama was doing as the first lady and her initiatives than I've seen from Kamala. So that's why I gotta give her an eye.
Yeah, I mean, generally the vice president is not somebody that the president likes to really put in the forefront. It's usually friction behind the scenes. It's usually, they're the backup quarterback essentially. And it's usually not harmony between the camps, between, their teams or whatever. And so it's usually like that. I personally did not want her to be the selection. I wanted the selection to be Stacey Abrams. I would have loved for her to have been the selection. Because here's the thing. If Joe Biden leaves the stage tomorrow,
Black and Kamala is not.
But I'm saying if Joe Biden leaves the stage tomorrow, now it's a toss up because most people are not going to support VP.
They're not going to vote for that Black woman for vice president.
You talking about who?
Stacey Abrams.
So they would have done what? Trump? That ticket would have been the winning ticket?
No, I'm saying, well, had Biden picked Stacey Abrams, he probably would have lost.
You think so? You think that Kamala Harris made that much?
Because Kamala only became Black to run for vice president. And when you look at the demographic of who votes the most is Black women, who's the most educated Black women. A lot of us went to HBCUs. A lot of us are in sororities. And Black people are emotional voters. Oh, we like her. Oh, she's so cute. Oh, look at what she did with that outfit. We're emotional. And it's very juvenile. It's a very juvenile way to vote. But it's what we do. We vote Democrat and we vote for who we like. We literally say, I like so-and-so, where you hear other people say, oh, this person is, and starts listing the qualities that the person has that are for your benefit. But Black people are just like, no, I like her. I like him.
That's just not Black people though. Let me be really clear. You think people gave a fuck about what Martin O'Malley's policies were? They voted for him because he had swoop hair and he played saxophone. A lot of people vote for who they want to sleep with. That's how Sarah Palin was able to get as far in that election that she was. They vote for people who are it by and large are people that they feel like are powerful, and we know that those are the same people that many people in this country want to sleep with. So I think we should be clear. Sure. Black people ain't the only ones voting along those juvenile lines. However, the consequences of doing so for our people are much higher, because none of these people are moving in alignment with the needs of Black people.
I agree with that, actually. And I think that has got to change in order for the quality of the candidates to change. And in order for that, if that happens, then we can possibly see some slight improvements in things, not big, but slight.
So no, I think that first of all, we have to know that voting is the lowest form of civic participation. That's number one. Because if you vote in every election, even if you are making sure that you are reading what you're voting, reading up on the people's policies and kind of following through them, once they get elected and da. That's not where the real power sits. The real power actually sits in who's being vetted to run, how they're being platformed, and who is funding those campaigns. And we need to, as much as we need voter education, those pieces are more important than the actual vote. Because if you have shitty choices,
I don't know. If you want to pause just for a second.
Okay.
Let's pause for a second on that. Okay.
Right.
If you say that, right, then that automatically, to the less informed, makes them just, that gives them the excuse, right, of not even getting engaged.
Well, here's an excuse. You gotta understand the process of politics.
Sure, but it's just like a football team, right? So that's like saying, what are you doing practicing? What are you doing, the kicker or the water boy or something like that, when the real decisions are made by the owner of this team and the GM? So you're saying, like, your job is insignificant.
But you can't come to a football game with a basketball. We keep going to the football game with a basketball because we don't understand. It's all sports to us. When really, no. There are technicalities to living in a republic. We don't live in a democracy. We live in a republic.
Correct.
And unfortunately, because it's a capitalistic society, money is moving the players across the board.
Definitely.
And it's nothing wrong or dirty or shameful about putting your funding behind a candidate who has your interests at heart.
Absolutely.
That is why again, back to us being emotional. We just want them to keep their word because it's the Christian way. No.
But the thing is, we're supposed to be giving them the word. We're supposed to be giving them the platform. So when I say it's the lowest form of civic participation, I'm not even telling anybody to vote or not vote. What I'm saying is you have to understand the full process. The fact that there is so much get out the vote, but not get out the platform, not pay $5, put $10, is, to me, makes the whole thing very clear. If you don't understand that before we even get to voting, the slate of candidates, or for example,
they need to be groomed by the community, by their constituents.
And so
we're always voting for outsiders on the national level. Of course, local politics is different. But it's nothing wrong or dirty or scandalous about grooming a candidate for the political arena so that they can be prepared and, again, work for our interests.
So I'm gonna give you a perfect example. I've had people say to me several times, "Yo, you should run for this. You should because you out here doing and you for the people."
And what's your answer when they say that?
I'm about to give you my answer. I tell them the only circumstances under which I will run is if the community, all y'all people who saying I should run, gather together and fund a campaign and tell me what you want done and investigate me, because you need to know exactly who I am completely and totally before you come asking me to go to City Hall or to go to Annapolis to do A, B, and C.
Right.
Because I could never do it and take money from people outside of community, because who you take money from is who you answer to. And I will only ever answer to community, period. And so until, like, we have a lot of people running in the city, running at the state level, who they answer to the people who give them $500, who get them $1,000. We're not even talking about large sums of money. We have people who are elected in our community who are answering to people for $1,000 and doing things that are against the interests of community all the time, because we only concerned about voting. We're not concerned about what's happening at the Democratic Central Committee. We're not concerned about.
But you gotta start, right? So you gotta start. So you start the process, and then they see, okay, I want to have more control over these candidates. These candidates suck. We need better candidates, and so then they need to, go to the next level.
Most people, that's my point. Most people stop at voting, and I'm saying that we have to stop doing that. And as a part of this political education, voter education, we have to educate people about the whole process. There's no reason why in a city like Baltimore we don't have open primaries. Come on, that's why we're getting these shitty ass choices, because we don't have open primary. There are plenty of independents, there are plenty of libertarians, there are plenty of people with no party affiliation who would serve the interest.
Can't vote in the primary.
Yeah, who can't vote in the primaries. So their voices are muted. But also, because there isn't an open primary system, many of them end up choosing to try to force themselves into either the Democratic,
right? Because you got to play the game,
and to play the game, and nothing ever comes of it. And so, like,
because their goal is to play the game and not change the game. So you can play the game with the intention of changing the game, and they may come in with that, but then somewhere along the line they get enticed by other things, enticed by shiny objects, or beaten down because of the process or whatever.
I think the game could change if all Black people registered as independent. We treat the Democratic Party like religion. No, my grandfather was a Democrat. I'm just you're gonna vote for
your emotional stuff again.
But since it's a game, and since they're counting, demographics, if all Black people registered independent, now they don't know where to put you, and they may have to come more sincere.
Their participation, our participation in different elections would be limited to the generals.
But if it would have you're talking about sparking change.
Yeah.
So maybe we sit out one election. How has it benefited us the last 100 years? So we'll sit out this election. We're all right to independent. Y'all get y'all shit together, and we'll see you at the next election.
We'll see you in the general. The other
either way, stop playing with us.
Right. The other part is this is something that you and I have gone back and forth with about a lot. Part of our problem is we don't know our own history, because if you knew your own history, you would know that the Democrats ain't been historically they haven't been no friend to Black people. There's some new Southern strategy switch up shit from with us.
Right.
I mean, in the Reconstruction years, and really until the 50s, most Black people were Republicans. And again, I'm not saying I think that we should not be aligned to any party. I think we should be about the business of lobbying for open primaries in all of the 50 states. Right. And then, leveraging the vote, brokering our vote from there. But this
grooming candidates from the communities.
Right.
Like it can't just be one thing, it's got to be octopus. We got to be doing several things at once.
Right. We need different people to run. I think that there should be an age limit on folks that are elected. We get these.
What would that number be?
I don't know, but it needs to be a number. There needs to be a 65.
Because all 60-year-olds
60,
aren't created
65.
equally.
Huh?
Yeah, but even still,
I said all 60-year-olds are not.
Sure.
All 18-year-olds ain't created equally, but they can't run for president either. So,
Sure.
I mean,
yeah,
I think
I mean, there has to be. I mean, we there has to be, because the older, try to get your parents to do something that they haven't been doing. It's hard to get them to do it. You just anything, something around the house, just anything. They always been doing it like this, and they're gonna always do it that way, and you can't convince them otherwise just because. And it's like that's how we get the same old stuff over and over again. Some of these people
power is very seductive, but that's the thing. That is the thing about what we have come to know as white power. It is very seductive, and it oftentimes does not lend itself very much to transfer. People try to hold that power until they are dead.
Right.
And that doesn't work.
Okay, so what does he say?
I'm not clear about what he's saying, but in any case,
I don't know either.
We need, I mean, it's a whole political education, it's a whole voter education piece.
Yeah.
It is a whole education piece about who we are, what our history is. All of these things come into play so we can know how to function. Because let's be clear.
I love the independent thing, though. I love that.
If we were organizing ourselves, so by our needs and executing our vote based on the policies that we need in community in order to be healthier, wealthy, and wise, then we wouldn't be having, to a certain degree, we wouldn't be having this conversation. The problem is we're absolutely not doing that. And a lot of it is because we don't even know that the things that impact our life are policy.
And we're reactionary. We're just reactionary. We wait till it happens and complain, but it takes so much to pass a bill into a law, or by the time it's a law, you really missed the train. You can't even. So
that's all part of the game.
For sure,
it's set up like
sure.
that.
For sure,
it's set up like that.
It's set up so that those in power, those who are landholders, major landholders, those who have passive income can navigate the system. But this is all about disrupting. See, the other thing is, we go back to the beginning when you were talking about capitalism and people getting their money. At this point in the game, if you don't know that capitalism, one, is not sustainable, two, is all about exploiting land and labor, which is one of the reasons why COVID was so devastating, because people are in poor health, because they are being worked to death in low wage jobs that do not allow them to rest appropriately, eat appropriately, connect appropriately with each other. Then,
and they live in food deserts.
Yeah, getting money, like chasing the bag, all of that other kind of stuff, those things that exist while you trying to execute in a capitalist model is, I can't speak for anybody else, but I'm not with that, and that's not going to help us. That's not going to help us at all. And so, knowing the political game, being able to disrupt it to a certain degree, while we over here drinking our water, minding our business, and not telling lies. I mean, I'm just saying.
That's how you feel. Brandon Scott, is he gonna get reelected? I gotta hit two more things before we go to a break. Brandon Scott, is he going to get reelected?
I don't know. Honestly, I'm sure he can get reelected. Again, I think this is one of those situations where, one, much of the work that he's doing specifically around violence interruption and restorative practice in community is long game work. People want everything to just stop right now, and that is not what's going to happen. It took 500 years for us to get into this decrepit state. It is not going to stop overnight. So teaching restorative justice and, executing it, teaching mediation, all of those things are things that are going to take time in order to manifest, especially when you have a police department with a $500 million budget, but cannot solve 300 murders in a year. We have to question, when you got a $500 million budget, but you cannot solve 300 murders, what are we getting? What is the people's return on investment for that money? Now, the mayor.
I've said this often. Police don't solve crimes. Informants solve crimes.
But
and
here's
so
the
if
thing.
they don't have cooperation, they can't do nothing. That's all. They don't solve anything.
Here's the thing.
Detectives are police, correct?
They don't solve nothing.
Here's the thing.
What is their job title? What is their job description?
They didn't even solve the murder. What was the police officer? What was the police officer that was killed in the building? Sean Suter, right? Yeah, I did.
Well, they didn't solve it because
they didn't want to solve it. They didn't want to solve it.
Then they don't need $1 billion. Then they don't need a $500 million budget.
Yeah, okay. It's your end of year review, buddy. It's your end of year review. Show me how you spent this money all year. Oh, you didn't do anything? Okay,
y'all said defund the police.
Oh, I absolutely am.
Absolutely.
Absolutely a police abolitionist.
Local police departments don't need to be malicious. Don't need to be ready for international war. Just the police.
I think that we saw in Uvalde that they're definitely not a militia, and they definitely ain't ready for no war. They were scared of that one dude in Uvalde. In the school?
Oh, in the school.
Yeah.
We talking about Baltimore City, brother.
Baltimore City is definitely not ready. A situation like that in Baltimore City, I think we're getting the same result. I think you're getting the same action.
So where's the $500 million going?
It's going to somebody's pocket.
Exactly.
So they should get paid $17 an hour like security guards.
It ain't going to the individual officers. It's going to somebody's pocket. Some kind of we could trade.
So we have armed security guards that are getting paid to be detectives and everything else, because that's what you're saying. A security guard just kind of stand there like, hey, don't steal nothing.
If they took $250 million from the police budget and put it into housing and put it into healthcare and put it into education, crime, all the types of crime that we have would fall. We do not need.
Say that one more time.
If we took half of BPD's budget and put it into put a third of it in housing, a third of it into healthcare, and a third into education, in the next year, we would see violent crime and property crime drop significantly.
Mm-hmm.
And why do you say that? Because
the vast majority of crime that we see is the direct result of economic violence that has been done in Baltimore, in the Black Butterfly, as a result of policy, state, local, and federal. And I'm gonna just tell you, if I'm hungry, if I'm starving, I'm not making good decisions. I will bust you upside the head.
So what in that money spread in those three categories that you just named would aid in, the feeding of folks?
It would aid in the housing.
You said healthcare. You said healthcare. You said housing,
and education.
And you think that would reduce some of our violent crime?
It's absolutely proven by sociologists that poverty breeds crime everywhere. Every city you go to,
no doubt about that.
There's a direct correlation between poverty and crime. And what is poverty? Lack of information, lack of healthcare, lack of housing. These three things, and of course, food, cause people to commit crimes because we're still humans with human needs. You can't just say, "Oh, you poor, starve to death." No, I'm gonna go find a way, by hook or crook, as they say, to get that. Now it's lower level, small thievery, and all the way up to the highest level where you're actually murdering somebody for a couple $100s, which seems trivial to us.
He said, "I'm not conscious." I am very conscious, sir.
But you can't trivialize someone else's hunger. You can't just say, "Oh, you should have got a job."
Understand. I just and a large degree of it is simple like that. But we also have have a mindset that has been passed down, taught, cultivated, that is very emotional. You know what I mean? A lot of just inability to react to situations in a way that doesn't end with somebody's life being lost.
Let me ask you something. Okay, so once again,
conflict resolution is to hell.
First of all, we're talking about communities of people who are chronically dehydrated and chronically malnourished, and many of them are also lead poisoned. So when you
That's
put
violence in their households, they leave out of violent households.
That's fact.
So the notion that somehow the mindset is the result of those things.
No.
The mindset.
I'm not saying.
Whoa.
I'm saying I think that both can be true at the same time, right?
Where do you think the mindset came from then?
Somebody taught it to them. Now,
somebody.
They learned it. They learned it.
I got you somebody. You live in a country that has been systemic. At war every year since 1776, with the exception of about 4 years. You live in a country that violence is the order of the day. If you say one fucking thing to America that they don't fucking like, they will starve you, they will shoot you, they will drone you. Who do you think taught this mindset of violence in order to get what you want? Do tell.
Well, that's one way of looking at it. I see how you can do that, but
where did the mindset come from?
We have got to learn. We were talking about this before we went on air, but we have got to learn to harness things. And when you're a kid, right? You're in a kindergarten class. Somebody got away with something and you didn't, right? And then and then if you get in trouble for it, then you may feel like, well, they did it, I need to be able to do it. And you got to understand, maybe there's an age difference. Maybe that's the child of the person who's in charge. Maybe there's a lot of different factors, right? Everything is not equal, right? Everything is not equal. But we can still prosper and do better than we're doing. We can make some adjustments.
Absolutely, by drinking water,
even though
with housing, healthcare, education, and the food deserts. That is how you change for a child who the only meal they get is at school.
Right.
Now you want them to focus on the lesson being taught. When they're dreading all day, they're dreading going back home. They have anxiety.
Sure.
At the youngest of ages now. And then they're bombarded on the internet by a whole nother level of what we call superficial fake world. It's still real to them.
Right.
So they're getting it on two fronts in the home.
If you don't get any of those supports about managing your emotions, if you don't get those things when you're a child, if you don't have stability, if you don't get affirmed as you become an adult, then what? Like, why are we expecting?
So then they got the excuse. So it's all good.
This is not about excuses.
We've done explanations. We've explained some of the things, but on the other side, I want to take a quick break, and then on the other side, I want to talk about some solutions. I want to talk about Wakanda forever, and I want to talk about my girl Marilyn Mosby, and I want to talk about squeegee kids. Okay, there's a whole lot that I want to get in, and we're gonna do this real quick break. Listen to the Diamond K Show on fire-tv.com. Today's broadcast was brought to you in part by City View Bar and Grill. City View is a family-friendly, casual dining bar and restaurant, providing high-quality food and good old-fashioned friendly service. At City View Bar and Grill, you can live every hour like it's happy hour. The food is mouth-watering, the atmosphere is fun, energetic, and mature. Located at 6700 Security Boulevard in Gwynn Oak, Maryland, a.k.a. Woodlawn. It is the City View Bar and Grill. Stop in today or visit cityviewmd.com. That's cityviewmd.com. The 2022 Baltimore Crown Awards goes down Saturday, November the 19th at The Garage, 6 Lafayette Avenue in Baltimore. This year's celebration is an emerald party. There is a dress code. It's emerald green, and that is to celebrate the 16-year anniversary of the Baltimore scene movement. Please come dressed in the theme and the color for a visual unity that reflects the theme for the evening. It's hosted by comedian Desi Alexander. You can cast your votes right now. Visit thebaltimorescene.org. We'll see you Saturday, November the 19th, 2022 for the Baltimore Crown Awards.
Looking for food that feeds your soul? Hoodfellas Bistro and Catering is your local African-American-owned restaurant offering American cuisine. Located across from the courthouse, we offer daily jury specials to reward civic duty. Enjoy our full-service restaurant and fully stocked bar. Dine in, pick up, delivery, and catering. Our themed happy hours feature live music, handcrafted drinks, and weekly specials. Book your private event at hoodfellowsbistrocatering.com.
Welcome back. You man, Diamond K in here, of course. The Diamond K Show. We're having a spirited discussion, as always. Anytime I get to chop it up with these ladies is a good time. It's a good time. So Nneka N'namdi back in the building. Fight Blight Bmore, Crystal Toya, 2 first names. You gotta watch anybody with 2 first names. You gotta watch them.
No comment.
Marilyn Mosby. What are thoughts on Marilyn Mosby? Nneka, start with you.
I have a deep, abiding, sincere prayer that Marilyn beats the case.
Yeah.
Because it is the most ridiculous. First of all, most people who purchase properties don't read all of them documents. At the bottom of all them documents, it says under penalty of perjury. If the feds decided that they were going to look in yours, mine, the next person on the corner to find some kind of fraud, a mistake, or whatever, that could yield a mortgage fraud charge, they would. Like for many people, maybe not everybody, but mistakes happen, things happen, whatever the case may be. I'm not here to deliberate about what she did or why, but the fact that she is facing, 15, 20, 30 years about some paperwork. When there's people out here raping, murdering, killing, doing all kinds of wild stuff and get 5 and 7 years, I'm not with that. And if not for the fact that she charged those officers with killing Freddie Gray.
Absolutely.
Okay.
This would never have happened. And
absolutely,
if she had been successful in bringing down convictions, which she almost was, I don't think this would be happening either. I think the one critique that I would have is that when she charged the officers, she should have brought in outside investigators, because it is my sincere belief that there are people within BPD and people within her own office who are the reason why those convictions, they didn't have all of the, an airtight case to secure those convictions. And so again, I have to say that my sincere and deep prayer is that she not spend a day away from her children and away from her home on some white, quote unquote, white collar crime. That if you looked at what happened during COVID, how many people took money out on COVID hardship to purchase properties
Absolutely.
and to make other financial moves. If they were charging everybody with that, it'd be a whole lot of people under federal charges, and they're not. They
Oh, like the members of Congress who invested in Pfizer and Moderna, like that.
Oh, and much more, and did much more than that.
Right.
And have done much more than that. Yes, I have said those things. So we are definitely in agreement with that. Since we talked last, what is the blight like in Baltimore? Have we seen an improvement in blight, or has it been an increase?
So from a policy, okay. So first of all, blight, what we're talking about is the presence in concentrations of vacant, abandoned, dilapidated, underutilized, and misutilized properties in community. It is the direct result of hundreds of years of racist housing and economic policy in Baltimore, in St. Louis, in Philly, in New York, in Atlanta, you name
Chicago.
it, Chicago, wherever, Detroit. And so what we have seen during the pandemic is the continuation in many ways of the economic violence that has damaged our communities, whether that is hedge fund investors buying 50% of the properties in Baltimore that were sold during the pandemic, whether that is landlords refusing to accept rental assistance payments, whether that is the continuation of the tax sale, whether that is the failure of state DCHD to properly implement and execute an outreach program for the Homeowners Assistance Fund. We've just seen a continuation of a lot of policy-based decisions that either keep in place or exacerbate the amount of blight in community. There are some bright spots because, of course, Black people going to do dope stuff. So you got Black Women Build doing a lot of development in Old West Baltimore. You got Parity Homes. You got the folks at Build organizing. You got Laquita Chancey and Smaltimore Homes. You got the men of Kioba organizing their money and pooling their money to purchase and renovate and do home repairs in West Baltimore. So you have a lot of people doing a lot of dope stuff in community. The challenge is the policy stuff and continuing to organize and mobilize and do that political education so that we can put in place the policies that we need to reverse what has happened to us. The reality of it is what has happened to Black people. Racism is executed through a series of public policies. So if we're ever going to reverse the impact of it on one end or close the wealth gap, we have to address the policy. And the only way to address the policy is to be politically organized and mobilized and ready to, write policy and put policy in place, but also take economic action against people when they do offensive things, when they do dangerous things, when they do hazardous things in our community. So in long and short, I would say that there are some bright spots, but when you have 16,000 vacant houses and 17,000 vacant lots in a city of 600,000 that continues to lose population, we have some serious challenges. We got an F right now. Even with all the work that's going on, we got an F right
now. An F though?
All right, a D.
It's an F.
All right, it's F.
So could be better. Has been worse. No, has been worse.
Well, I wouldn't say. I would say we are at. This is worse. I think
we're at worse because we have the most resources that could be being used that are being underutilized. So
yeah,
this is worse.
In that regard, and the numbers are such because we have continued to lose population. So yeah, in 1950, when there were 1.2 million people living in Baltimore, yeah, there were blighted areas of Baltimore. However, we now have 670,000 people in Baltimore, and the amount of blight, because we have so few people, is much more pronounced and much more concentrated.
And the potholes.
And the potholes. And the water bills. And the water bills.
Now, going to the potholes for a second. Who is responsible for the potholes being fixed?
I'm almost 100% sure that's city DOT.
Yeah.
It might be State Department of Trans. It's a DOT that's responsible for making sure that the streets are maintained. But let's be honest, like part of the reason why we got potholes has to do with, poor street maintenance over time, which has to do with disinvestment, which has to do goes all the way to policy. It's all by policy. It's the reason why we're under consent. The city. Not we. The city is under consent decree. The city is under consent decree with the EPA about the water, and all of those. They're supposedly fixing 15 miles of pipe every year, but the fact that we got to the point that the system is so bad is part of the reason, even in them trying to fix it, that the E. coli outbreak happen, or exposure happen. So all of these things are tied together: policy and disinvestment, where money is being invested. You don't see the streets looking too bad down there at Harbor East, or back there in up on Federal Hill. You don't see it looking too bad. I'm not saying it's great, but it also don't
better than the underpass.
It is much better than it is over here in Harlem Park, or up Park Heights.
Now, because some people, I think, just do not see the I don't want to say the benefits. How can voting and participating in the political process directly affect, or can it affect some of these things?
Okay, so I'm gonna give you a perfect example. You asked about Mayor Scott. Now, for all the things that I got issues with for doing, right? One of the things is, from the very beginning, he had been advocating against the tax sale, which basically is a predatory scheme that the city executes to collect money on unpaid property taxes. And so, for whatever reason, whatever people's reasons were, they voted Brandon Scott in. Now, of all the issues that are going on in Baltimore, I pressed him, and other advocates pressed him about tax sale. He listened to a certain degree. So we have now a tax sale working group in Baltimore, and we're supposed to be about the business of reforming tax sale. But let's say he was up for re-election now, right? And people voted for someone else. That someone else could come in, and maybe the people who funded that campaign were the tax certificate purchasers lobby. And they could come in and be like, oh yeah, forget that reform. We don't care nothing about Big Mama House. So the policies that are on the books today are the result of who was elected yesterday. Now, what's going to be on the books tomorrow is the result of who was elected today. And so that's a makeshift example of why it really is important, not just to know who you're voting for, but to understand how, even more important, to understand how local policy impacts your everyday living and your everyday health and wellness outcomes in community.
Absolutely. And I say that all the time, not as eloquently as you did, but I definitely say that. And I like to hear other people say it. You know what I mean? Because people will just discredit how collectively we can impact things.
Well, that's because, okay, let's be honest. We have worked very hard in spurts to do collective mobilizing, and we have gotten some things done, but some things not so. And so I think that there is a deep well of disappointment because we really believed that at some point that we would be accepted into the American tapestry. Now, I would say to Black people, I don't know why you want to be included in this shit at all.
At all.
The whole thing is built on exploitation
and a lie. It's all built on a lie
and all of that. But I think that part of it is this innate sense of justice and fairness that we have, and this belief, which is true. It's not just a belief. This country would be a shell of itself. It would not exist as we know it if not for the ingenuity of Black people, the creativity of Black people, but also the exploited labor of Black folks. And I think on some level we feel like if we don't, that we should work to try to hold on to it, to keep America together, so we can one day finally get our due, instead of working to disrupt and dismantle so that we can build anew. And that's the that's the challenge, as a dichotomy that we have. Some of it has to do with the fact that we don't know what we were, what we had before we got here. So we can't even imagine a world without this white hegemony, without racism and white supremacy. We have a challenge. That's one of the things that is done. It damages our ability to imagine a world that is free. Imagine a world that is liberated. The mere fact that people think that you can't have a world without policing. First of all, police, go look at any society, any non-European society prior to the colonial era. Peaceful societies, they had their problems, people had wars and stuff, but you ain't had no damn police. Police are not, police is not necessary. We have been acculturated to believe this false sense of security that is created by police, when police are only really here to protect property. And the reality is the property that they were about protecting when policing was established in the US was us.
Right.
So, we just got to get to a place where we're able to imagine a nation anew. And who knows what that actually looks like? Who knows if it's here? We might gotta leave this. We might not get no reparations. We might just gotta leave this raggedy motherfucker and let it fall on his face. Because let's believe, if Black people get the fuck up and get up out of here, this whole shit is going down.
It's done.
Going down.
Yeah.
And that includes the Latinos, because not all the Latinos is brown. Not all of the Latinos is white either. Some of them is Black people. So we all just decided we gonna go back from whence we came. They gonna have a little problem keeping the American tapestry up.
Right.
So folks can get involved, take action, fight blightbmore.com. Love your website, and very informative. And it is definitely something that folks need to check out. And just a minute or two listening to you talk, they can tell that you are what they call the real deal. Okay. The real deal. Fight blightbmore.com. And those were not bars. I was just saying that is just the website name. Okay, but I am known to spit bars. Okay, spit hot fire. All right.
Dylon.
Right, spit hot fire. And I definitely want to talk about Black Panther 2. Did you think there was going to be a Black Panther 2? Like at one point, I'm like, yeah, it's going to be Black Panther 2. And then we had a tragedy happen. And then I'm like, okay, how they going to pull this off?
I mean,
It makes too much money.
Yeah.
It makes too much money. It's gonna be a couple more.
Yeah, and then I saw the previews. I said, "Oh, I see where this is going." And then I was like, "Okay, what was I thinking?" Right, of course. And so as we have come to expect, there is going to be a celebration and a watch party. So we could talk a little bit about this watch party. And first of all, why are you doing it? And how can folks get involved? And who wants to take that? Who wants to take that? Take that.
You funny.
Diddy voice.
We're doing it as a fundraiser for Fight Blight Bmore. Was one of the things that we do is direct service. So in addition to educating people in community about what blight is and what its impact is in community, helping to support community visioned community development projects, we also in 2020 started the tax sale bailout. And so basically we help elderly people folks over 65 who are low income or disabled homeowners pay their property taxes or water bills or get a deed disentangled. So there are a number of things that we provide. And while we're working on the policy stuff to help make, because there's no point in paying today if the policy that's going to trip people up stays in place. So we are about working both ends, the policy end, but I'm not about to be out here doing policy while Big Mama losing her house. I can't do it. And so as a fundraiser for the tax sale bailout, we decided to have another Black Panther viewing party. One, because it's a cultural, it's become a cultural phenomenon, along with all of the other kind of Marvel all the other kind of Marvel pieces, but also because there's a particular, although we know that Black Panther was created by Stan Lee, who is not, a Black person, there are the visuals. We know that the people who are doing the movies, the expression that is being brought to life is very culturally clear, and it's being directed by Black folks, and you can feel it and you can see it. I would say you can taste it and smell it, but that isn't exactly true. But I think you understand what where I'm going. And part of it is because when we talked about that visioning piece, this notion of just even visioning a piece of Africa uninterrupted, undisturbed, mostly
unmolested
by colonialism is an important thing for us to see, for us to be able to, jockey around in our minds and for us to enjoy, because a lot of the messaging that we receive about ourselves visually, and in many ways is negative. And so these are images that, again, are very culturally relevant. The costumes is right. The vibe is right. The way folks are moving is right. And why not? We get to get together.
So what you gonna be wearing? What you gonna be wearing?
I don't know, but people get to come in
their regalia.
in their regalia. If you're a cosplayer, please, because Black people cosplay. So absolutely,
hello.
Come in your character, come as you are, come, however. But the idea is that we're going to get together and raise a couple dollars for a good cause. And, we get to see what they had put together in honor of good brother Chadwick, know?
Yeah.
Yep.
And so
looking forward to that. Folks can get their tickets. I got a link in the bio description here. And then, of course, they can just copy and paste this or type this link that's on the screen. And let me so I'm excited about it. And I am predicting that this is going to be a good film. And so this viewing is going to be at the AMC in Owens Mills, number 17 theater. Okay, so you picked a good theater. That's a good theater. Friday, November 11th, 7 p.m. Looking forward to it. So folks can get their tickets, and then of course they are helping a great cause that that you are spearheading. And so, Crystal Toya, are you going to be there? Are you going to be?
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. I'm just checking.
I'm looking forward to seeing you there dressed as T'Challa.
Well, that okay. So part's not going to happen. I will be there, but I'm going to be
not dressing.
You're not going.
Yeah. I'm going to come as a DJ and a radio person.
Boo! I mean, Wakanda has DJs. You can be a Wakanda DJ. You just
absolutely. You gotta have DJs. You know what I mean?
You gotta Wakanda it up, though.
Yeah, I'm having black is my color, right? Of course.
Okay. All right. Wow. We'll take it.
Yeah. So I'm definitely looking forward to it. And let me do this. Okay. So I have also put the link so you can support the cause, support just everything. Just support Fight Blight Bmore. Buy your ticket. I'm great to get my ticket right now, actually.
Yeah, do that.
Yeah, I'm great. Get my ticket right. I'm gonna get my ticket right now.
Do that. And for those who, maybe already have their tickets and are going elsewhere, you can donate at Eventbrite too. And like I said, the money really goes to keeping our elders and disabled folks in their homes. In fact, we have 190 clients right now in one on one level or another. And we have raised about $125,000 through grants, through small dollar donations. We've distributed about $90,000 and have helped, I want to say 75 homeowners keep their home stabilized or, away from the tax certificate purchases, which could result in a tax sale foreclosure. So, this isn't, like ethereal. This ain't the Red Cross over here.
Okay.
This ain't the Red Cross. Like we literally about the business of making sure that, these elders who, paid too much for their house on contract loan, stayed in community, didn't leave community when other people moved to other places because they got a little education or a little promotion on their job, that have taken care of community are able to remain where in their neighborhoods, but also that we're working to address the policies so that the neighborhoods don't look like shit. So they can sit on their steps, so they can walk to a corner bodega if there's no grocery store, so that they can navigate the sidewalk if they have a walker or a wheelchair, that we are on top of city government to make sure that they are making community safe and well, like, making sure that there's a rec center, making sure that, if there's an E. coli outbreak, that the city is coming and giving water, because the truth is we pay property taxes, we pay high property taxes, we pay disproportionate property taxes for the services that we then receive. And so, we got to be about the business of protecting our elders on one end and our children on the other end. And if you don't have a safe neighborhood to play in, if the children can't play in the neighborhood, then what are we doing?
Yeah, so I mean, you're doing some important work, and I assume that it has to be emotionally rewarding when you're able to help some of our people.
Yes and no. Yes in that. Yes and no.
Tell me more. Tell me. Tell me more. Yep. Tell me more. Okay. So this is my.
He's still with it. No, okay, it is rewarding.
Go on Amazon and get your costume.
It is
live on air. We want to see you order the Amazon.
How crazy that we? I'll tell you that we.
It is important to do this work, but it is very frustrating because we are working against 100 years of policy, and sometimes we're working against a lack of knowledge or understanding among our own among our own folks. And so it can be frustrating, but this is what, this is what I was born to do. I was born for Black people, and I'm going to do what I was born to do. Now, I'm not, let me tell you what I'm not, but let me tell you what I'm not finna do. I'm not fitting to be 65, 70 doing this work.
Okay.
I'm doing the work.
So you training the next generation?
I'm training the next generation.
There it is.
Will come a time sooner than later where
I
turn it over to them. My door will always be open for
you a long way from 65. So I don't know what you.
I'm actually not all that long away.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. Stand up, turn around. Let's see.
No.
Yeah. Okay.
Terrible.
How quick did the last 20 years go?
Yeah, it went by quick.
Blink of an eye.
Okay.
It went by quick. You
Okay.
know,
Exactly.
if I think back to the days when I talk to you every day, to now I talk to you every time the comic book people say, when the last time we made a Black Panther movie? Oh yeah. That no, I'm just messing with you. But yeah, you're right. 20 years went by quick. It seemed like it was the 90s like 5 years ago. So
yeah.
It seems like it was the 90s. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to the Black Panther 2 watch party. Wakanda Forever, right? You saw the
Wakanda Forever.
Wakanda Forever. You saw the previews, right? It was official.
It's official.
The preview made me cry, so it's over.
Previews was official. You know what I mean?
It's over for me, child.
Angela Bassett. You're a crier in the movies?
I'm a crier. Yes.
Oh,
absolutely.
Yeah, I don't even know how they made the movie. I would have been.
You put your feet up on the seat in front of you?
No, I'm too short, actually. But no.
All right. Okay. All right. Well, if the requirement is for me to be dressed up, other than a club music DJ who talks
Wakanda club music DJ.
I'm coming as a club
adjacent. Wakanda club adjacent.
Yes. No.
It is come as you are. Let that man.
I gotta come as a club music DJ. I can do that. I tried to help Drake but I can only do it so much. He's from Canada, right? I'm from Baltimore. I'm official. So yeah. So it's gonna be like that.
It would not count against you that Drake got 2 left feet. It wouldn't count against you.
He does. I know.
He
literally does. Yeah, that's true. That is true. All right. I'm excited about it, and I'm going to be talking about this on my show from now up until you tell me to shut up.
So I tell you, all the tickets are sold.
All the tickets are sold, right? AKA shut up, right? They try to get us to get another theater. Shut up.
Yeah,
got you. I love that place, actually. I love that location. All right. So again, Black Panther 2 watch party, Wakanda Forever. Come as you are, come as you want. They're trying to pressure you to but you ain't got to, but
it's just me.
What you gonna be wearing? What you gonna be wearing?
Oh, you don't even understand. You don't even understand.
You do it all the way.
She probably been working on a costume since last year.
That's how you roll. Okay. All right. That's what's up.
It's going down.
That's what's up. And of course, as I said, link in the description if you're watching this in a later replay or you're listening to us on Apple, Spotify, Stitcher.
He official.
Official.
However you're hearing this, link in the description. And even if you can't make it, like she said, a donation is appreciated and supported and needed, much needed. Thank you, ladies. And we didn't even battle. Like, we battled more behind the scenes than we did.
It's hard to battle when you're not in person. The virtual battle is not the same.
Virtual battle is not the same because sometimes you freeze up. You know what I mean? And we do got time to do this though. What's up with your boy?
Who?
Your boy.
Kanye.
The one that was knocking on the door at Skechers, and they was like, get from around here with this foolishness. He was at Skechers today trying to get a deal because you know he don't have the Adidas deal. He was at Skechers. You know how you know the desperation level could be at Crocs next. Like what's going on? What's up with your man?
I like Crocs, so I don't.
Okay.
I love Crocs.
Okay.
I mean, I think
is his foot in his mouth? Has his foot been in his mouth yet? No.
I think that you have to be very careful when you disrespect your ancestors and say things that are out of pocket. I think that we also have to, much like what Trevor Noah said, my critique of him is a calling in, not calling out. I think, unfortunately, like many of us, Kanye was seeking acceptance into white corporate structures. I think he got very frustrated with the notion that he was not being accepted because he thought for some reason he was some kind of special Black person, like many of us do when we get education or a couple dollars. And they have showed him that no matter how good you rap, how much you might be a musical genius, how much you might do fashion, that you will not be accepted. And I think it's even more important for us to recognize that included into what? Why do we want to be included into these spaces? We really should not be seeking inclusion into these spaces. And I'm not telling people don't go get their job, don't get your little corporate job and get your money, boo-boo. What I'm telling you is when you go in there, you do your a consistent 79.5%. You save the best of you for you and your people. And in the case of someone like Kanye, who's trying to do big things, focus on developing a line of production of product that we own and control outside of them. Even if it's small, even if it only can do 1,000 pieces a week, whatever it is, focus.
That is the biggest. That's the biggest lesson, because if he had those things in place, then you can say whatever you want to say because can't nobody stop what you got to do. But he still has to do business. He's still doing business within the structure of all of these other people, and he can be shut down because he don't control or own anything.
But this is also the other piece.
The manufacturing side of things.
This is the other piece. Watch your mouth.
Facts.
One thing about me that I don't open my mouth around Baltimore about shit unless I can substantiate what I am saying. If you are going to make comments about groups of people and their conduct throughout history, you should be able to defend that conduct. There's a interview with Dr. Ben, where Dr. Ben talks about the history of African Hebrews or African Jews. Like, we have to know, like, you have to know. Farrakhan has talked about, there are other people who have talked about these issues, but you have to know. And if you were going to call Puffy out for anything, why didn't you call him out for how he treated his artists? Why didn't you call him out for that?
You know why? You know why? Because Kanye didn't treat his artists any better, because that's the system. The system is set up in a certain way.
And that's what he should have talked about.
But he doesn't even know. So it's just if you look at the first contract that he had was a crap contract. You know what I mean? That's how it is coming in. You can call it paying your dues, you can call it whatever you want. But then after a certain point, you know, you restructure, you figure out, you learn, you change some things around. You can demand more money, but you know,
know what you're talking about. You
gotta know what he's talking about.
I don't think I'm gonna say it, and I'm gonna let Toya close it out because I know she got stuff to say.
Yeah. She gonna uplift them.
Black people have to take serious handling our mental health challenges. not watching, not dismissing, not going to therapy, not taking meds if necessary, not changing our diet and our respect. We have to take our mental health seriously, and we have to stop watching people self-destruct because they are not addressing their issue and pumping them up and da 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 da, because the consequences, as we fit to see, are not for they.
So do you think that he's self-destructing?
I think that we have watched this brother spin himself up, and I think that if he does not get some tender loving care from people who really have a deep abiding love for Black people and for him as a person, that it could not be a good look. I'm not gonna. I don't want to speak.
I think that he has a lot of yes people around him.
Because here's the thing:
nobody's holding him accountable.
We talking about all this Black power, but if he keep on, whatever is left of that $1 billion empire, will be in the hands of the Kardashians. So I'm gonna
that's actually where I was gonna go. Do you agree with, approve of how he has treated her and his children in public?
I think that there are a lot of problems with
how has he treated them.
I mean, the fact that we know the different things that we know that he spit out the same way he spit out this recent dialogue from his mouth, different things that he says and does. There's definitely something going on there. Like, there's something going on. If the boy's mother was alive, a lot of this stuff would not be happening. Agree or no?
I can't wholeheartedly agree because some mothers are enablers.
But she was an enabler, but she also was able to control him to a degree.
I don't know if that's true.
And I think that's probably the only person he really would listen to.
I think he was. If he had $11 billion when she was alive, it might have already happened. I think it's more the money.
Nor did he ever have $11 billion.
Well, neither of us really know what he got. So let's just agree to that.
He had a net worth of over $1 billion, and per the
metrics,
he doesn't have that. He did not liquid have $1 billion.
Either way, any of the numbers we throw out are just conjecture. Like we no one really knows like how much money the man has. However, I think that the bigger thing with the Kanye situation is not specifically Kanye. It's how this Black man is being treated. Because again, what he's accused of is saying words. Right. At the end of the day,
not actions. Is that what you're saying?
He's accused of saying words.
Accused of, or did we witness the words? Are you saying the words that we heard about the words?
To characterize the words as anti-Semitic is the accusation. I think that if you say a thing and that thing is a true thing, Jewish people control the media. How is that anti-Semitic?
I don't think that in itself is anti-Semitic because
okay. I mean, we could. By that we could go statement by statement.
Sure, let's go.
And see like what he said that was anti-Semitic. He never said. I think all the Jews. I hope they all die. Like it wasn't.
I think the thing that I've seen Jewish people zoom in on is the DEFCON 3 comment they took. That really struck a nerve with.
Okay, but again, people saying I'm going to go DEFCON 3, saying that statement is still words, right? He didn't. He didn't go to any Jewish person's house with an AK-47.
Tell that to the LGBTQ folks
but
because
now we're switching topics because even the LGBTQ
they react the same. The reaction is the same
because the power structure is the same. LGBTQ is run by white men,
and this is what we're talking about behind the scenes. Why can't Black people? I don't have any problem with Jewish people saying you can't say this about us. We shutting you down. I don't have no problem with that. When the LGBTQ folks do it, I don't have no problem with that. The problem that I have is why don't black people do that when they be talking about black women, and why don't we target those advertisers and force them to get those dudes out of there? Why don't we do that? We should,
because we are not empowered.
But how Nneka was talking about, they learn.
We don't own the media companies. We don't own the record labels.
But listen, we've seen Jewish people do it. We've seen the LGBT
because they own things.
We've seen it. So why can't we take our economic power, right? So we're the buyers.
We don't own it.
We gotta own it. We're the people that they sell it to. So as the people
that just don't buy it. You're saying don't buy it.
Yeah, because we are the most powerful ones. We're the ones who buy it. We're the ones who buy the stupid purses and the shoes and whatever it is. I think
the issue is bigger than purses and shoes.
No, I'm saying whatever it is. I'm saying whatever it is. If it's a company, if it was a TV show, if it's somebody on Fox News, if it's somebody, whoever, I don't care who it is. Whatever, if it's a company that's doing something that we don't approve of, if they're exploiting our people, whatever it is, whoever it is, whatever it is, if we economically don't, the same thing that you said about becoming all independent, all black people becoming independent. If we all don't support this, or we all don't support that, or we all put pressure on them economically, we don't have to be the owners because we are.
You do have to be the owner to do what they're doing to Kanye West. You have to be. No black person ever again can buy another Yeezy, and it would not affect Kanye West the way this is affecting Kanye West.
That's true.
I think it minimizes it to say just don't buy it.
No, but I'm not talking about doing this to Kanye West. I'm thinking about other things. Let's look at the different. Let's take the NFL for instance. All the players in the NFL, the majority of the players are what? Black, right? Yeah. When whatever happened with Colin Kaepernick, if all of them said, no, we don't rock with that, it shut down. The end. They're going to figure it out. They didn't have to be the owners. So I'm just saying that's the mentality. I'm saying collectively, just like I love what you said about us all being independent. I gotta think about that. I gotta think about that deeper because that would move the needle politically with the system, with the political structure. That would shake some things up. And I'm saying that kind of mentality, which is it's a unification, which is the hardest thing for us. The unification part is the hardest thing for us. But if we unify and say we ain't buying this, or not Kanye stuff, I'm talking about on a bigger level. We only shopping at this store. We only going to do this. Things would change. Like the respect that they would be forced to show us as people would change.
You got a Bank of America account?
No.
Good. But you know how many people still got black people still got Bank of America accounts?
Too many.
And all I'm saying is I agree with you. When someone shows their ass to black people, we absolutely should withdraw. We should withdraw support. First, we can give them an opportunity to correct it. Mm-hmm. And then if they don't correct it, we can withdraw support. But I think what Toya's point is the way that this is happening to Kanye West, black people cannot exert that particular type of power.
Correct.
Right. Because we do not own the means of production of shoes, music, bam, bam, bam. So to draw we cannot draw an exact comparison because the power dynamic is off.
It's different.
And yes, black people have a so-called $1.3 trillion spending power, but most of us have a net worth of less than $1,000. So isn't the spending power?
We spend money we don't even have yet. We spend some people that's watching have already spent their check that's coming next week. Already spent. It's already spent. We will spend money we don't have. So
and sometimes we're spending money.
Tell me that we can't move some shit with that.
Wait a minute. But sometimes what we're spending money on that we don't have is the result of all of the things. Rent is higher in our community. Food is higher in our community. Insurance is higher in our community. So going back to the policy piece,
systemic.
Back to the
word for the day is systemic.
So we got to be real careful. We have to be real careful when we wild black people out.
No, but it could be
and when we support a public lynching, a financial lynching of a black man because he said something you don't like.
It could be something as simple as toilet paper, food. I don't care what it is. It could be something simple. There's a whole lot of reasons why we ain't got this. We don't own that. We don't have enough of this. Yes, but if we focus, we could do it little by little. We could.
We don't disagree. We don't disagree with that.
Yeah, that's not in dispute at all.
Yeah, we don't disagree with that. But what we are saying is that we have to look very closely at the systems of power that are in place. Because what could be said is that all of the Black artists could just say, yo, we're not making no more damn music. Y'all won't make no more money because we ain't fitting to make no more music in these deals.
We have to be conscious of how history repeats itself in modern ways. There was a time when one, quote, uppity nigga went and did something, and they brought him back to the plantation to whip him in front of everybody. They brought Toby back to cut off his foot. They could have killed Toby, but they said, no, we're going to cut his foot off so he can limp around this plantation for the rest of his life and show the other niggas how to stay in line. And so a lot of how they're treating Kanye is like, look, be warned. And some of us are regurgitating that. See, you better not say nothing about the Jews. You better not. Jew mess are going to get you. Like, it's like surreal how much of us revel in.
Like I told you, I don't have an issue with that. I just think that we need to adopt and use these strategies the way that we can use them. We are the main people that these products are marketed to, and we should collectively spend.
And one of the biggest things Kanye said on his Drink Champs interview is that he was jealous of the Jews and how they work together and how they're economically a sound body. That clip doesn't keep getting repeated. He said, I'm jealous of them. I wish we could be more like them in business.
Well, maybe we need to be had kids with a Black woman to start it off, and maybe I would have believed them.
But
neither here nor there. I'm saying how they're cherry picking his comments to say, "Oh, he's so anti-Semitic," likening him to Hitler. Like it's an unfair.
I wouldn't liken him to Hitler.
What he said, first of all, and second of all, it is dangerous for us to regurgitate it and to double down on it when it is a reflection of how they feel about all of us. We want to be individuals so bad, but Black people are collective, whether we like it or not.
And we need to move like that because
you're absolutely right. We need to move part of it is mental. It has to start mentally first. So when we jump up and down and celebrate Kanye West being treated how he's treated, that's what he get. He should have been shut up.
But this is the thing. There's a lot of Kanyes out there. There's a lot of people that want to be accepted by other people.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of. He ain't the only one. He's not the only one. That's done that. A lot of our people want to be accepted by others.
We do.
That we got to figure that part out. We got to figure that part out because he ain't gonna be the last one. Trying to get accepted and then realize that the flames.
Well, a lot of the people speaking out against him are trying to get accepted. they getting a leg up in their career path by doubling down on how much they disagree with Kanye.
Well, I definitely disagree with Kanye.
But here's something else, and we should have stopped. Like we really should have, as a community, as a collective, should have stopped Kanye at the slavery was a choice.
I said that then. I've been dumping on him since then.
We're not, but here's the thing: we're not talking about dumping on him. We're talking about
saying that we should shut him down. Like because we didn't shut him down, it just kept going and kept going and kept going. We have people that look like us that was defending those asinine comments.
But if you recognize he has a mental illness, then which is it? If he has a mental illness,
you still get.
How are you taking everything he's saying?
You still
so seriously
be held accountable. Mental illness is not. I'm not saying that nobody should have thrown him in the trash at those statements. I'm saying that was a signal for, as a community, specifically Black artists, specifically hip hop artists, to call him in and give him an opportunity to get help and to correct himself.
But collectively, the answer was he makes good music. He got a whole lot of money. He must know what he's talking about. Like there was a lot of folks, the materialistic folks, who only see he got some money, which means we got to go with what he's saying. There was a lot of people that did that.
there's a lot of celebrity love, and we have a tendency,
Worship.
and this is not just Black people,
No.
of elevating people because they have money. This
Mhm.
no matter how they got it, because if
Right.
we know anything about Trump's ascension to the White House,
Right.
he rode to the White House and rode to the on the backs of small businesses that he failed to pay and stuff like that, and all
Right.
kinds of shadowy
And
kind
those
of
businesses went under. A lot of businesses went under.
People don't talk about that. Long
Right.
as you end up, but this is the sickness again. This is the sickness of capitalism. And so, as long as we continue to try to engage in capitalism from the idea of we can pull ourselves up from our bootstraps, we can leverage it. Audre Lorde said the master's tools will never be used to dismantle the master's house. And that's a quote that always sticks with me, even in trying to engage in policy work. It's like, this can't, it can disrupt, but this can't dismantle. And I think part of what Kanye's problem is, and part of what our problem is we have a tendency of not balancing the notion of accountability. When we talk about cancel culture, we're canceling the behavior, not the person. But we have gotten into this punitive thing where we want to cancel the person. Now, yes, R. Kelly, after we didn't try to get you to cancel the behavior and you continue, you got to get canceled as a person. But it really starts with canceling the behavior. And we failed not just with Kanye, with other people
we failed with R. Kelly, and there's a lot of similarities because one, we knew his behavior, we knew what was going on, we still supported the music, we still fed the beast, so it continued, and the same thing with Kanye. It has been supported and it continues.
We need to worry about the Kanyes and the R. Kellys in our own families and communities.
That's
it's
true.
Much bigger than Kanye
himself
and R.
100%.
Kelly himself. We really have to be, again, even politics on the national level. We need to drill down and be more focused locally, starting with ourselves. So this goes back to when I told you, you was like, oh, you looking good. I was like, yeah, I'm drinking water. I'm not lying, and I'm minding my business. The thing I left out that I should have said is also that I'm working really diligently to get more rest, because that's part of our problem. We're not.
You didn't always do that.
No, I didn't. But times change.
Back when it was
Wisdom.
dial up, you wasn't getting rest like that.
No, I was in the streets.
Now in this high speed era, you getting rest. Look at you.
It's called balance.
Yeah. Let's do this. Can we make a promise to not wait until Black Panther 3 before we speak again?
I'll make you this promise. We'll come back during Black History Month.
Oh, I love that. That. Yeah, that's good. Yes. Okay.
All right.
That's gonna be great. That's gonna be great. Very passionate as well. Again, it goes down on November the 11th, 7 p.m. The Black Panther 2 watch party, Wakanda Forever. Visit the link that you see right here. It is also pinned below this video and in the description. Support the movement and come out and watch a great film. I already know it's going to be a great film. I'm predicting great film. Come out and watch it. And even if you can't come, even if you're in another city, support what is going on here and make a donation. You can do that by clicking this link. As I said, you can also visit fightblightbmore.com. Thank y'all both so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. I will see y'all.
All right.
All right. The defense wanted to call a forensic accountant. And this accountant is supposed to testify that Mosby's net worth declined by at least 30% in the spring of 2020 as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. Oh, and the prosecution hates that. See, because here's my thing. every business was affected by COVID, unless your business was to spread COVID. So the prosecution's like, oh, no, she's going to actually prove her case. We don't want this to happen. We don't want any testimony from this witness. So they didn't want the testimony. Of course, this at the core is her defense. Mosby had a travel-related business. The travel industry was impacted severely by COVID.
It's the Diamond K Show. Hear it on FireTV.com.